More hype music.
Yeah!
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the grand finals of the 4th Eurobow. It's hard to count sometimes, and in this we're actually going to be going for a best of 5, and in the top left corner on Garden, it is Myrault.
And here in the top right corner of the map, we have in the yellow trunks our Protoss player who just 2-0'd Beastie Cutie because he felt like it. It's Arthur!
Indeed. Alright, and let's talk about this map for a little bit. Actually, first of all, talk about the players. Arthur, let's just have a look at who he had to beat to get here. So, first round, Arthur was playing, or second round, he got straight into the second round. He's playing Idvuja, who actually took a game off of him, the first game. And then he 2-0'd Buckfast, he 2-0'd Beastie Cutie, and now he's here to play versus Myrault. And Myrault, on the other hand, he started to play versus Byleth, who's one of the highest ranking ladder players we have. He 2-0'd him, then he 2-0'd Eric, and then he 2-1 versus Franskar. So he also has an impressive streak of people that he's left behind. But I would give the slight edge to Arthur here, just being, you know, a former StarCraft 2 pro gamer. The only reason he's not technically a pro gamer now is because he's teamless, but I'm pretty sure that he's looking for a team. And
I don't think he's been teamless for very long either.
No.
I seem to remember him having a team not too long ago.
What's going on in the center is a way too big neutral building that Teddy Bear put here. I'm gonna blame him for this one. I actually did a remake of this map for testing purposes, where I replaced this with a small statue of an Archon instead. So I forgot that it was still here in this version because I've been playing the test map a lot. So that should definitely be fixed.
It's a Zelnaga shrine. Does this give you vision?
No, it's just a big doodad. It's just
It's just a really
loud, very loud doodad. Now, what's very interesting about this map is that you have your natural kind of in the back here with actually droppable and blinkable high grounds. You have to be careful here. And it has half gas and only 6 mineral patches. And then you have your normal natural at your front, which has a huge choke, but it's reduced by these rocks, so you can kind of forge fast expand into your normal natural here as well, which is more safe versus drop and blink play.
Okay.
And then you have like a more easily third in your behind your main. So it's a really weird map. It's actually a port from a Brood War map. It was called
Is that God's Garden by any chance?
Yeah, that's God's Garden. And this one was actually made for Legacy of the Void, and it used to be very dark and gritty, and Teddy Bear wanted to make it greener. So it is greener now, but unfortunately it didn't remove any of the dark and gritty doodads. So you have like black pipelines in the green landscape, which looks kind of interesting, but I'm not going to comment too hard on that now. Most people don't even notice these things. I just like to make maps,
and we have a super quick lair coming out of Myrault, so it looks like that quick Muta is going to make a reappearance. No Zerglings in advance though, because of course with that gateway there, it's a little bit easier to hold.
Yeah, but there is it's a one-base Stargate from Arthur, actually. Arthur just loves his pressure builds. Oh, how did that... Oh, the drone mineral walked up there, I think.
Fantastic. The drone is going to get there. Is it going to get behind the mineral line? It is. It sees the Stargate, sees that it's a Corsair. And that's a nice little bit of a giveaway there. Hydralisk Den coming up here. I think this is going to change Myrault's plans quite a bit.
Yeah, I think it's... I really dislike the fact that you can mineral walk even if you haven't scouted the main yet. You know what I mean? In Brood War, you had to see the base first, and then you can mineral walk. But since yeah, and that just feels so wrong, but whatever. So, wow, look at the details in the background here, though. That's insane, but whatever. I'm going to try and focus on the game and not the map. But I was going to say that this map was actually remade for StarCraft 2 for the Legacy of the Void mod. And it is in there, but it looks slightly different because of some texture changes. But it's basically the same map. All the geometry is the same. Of course, number of gas guys is just different because this is Starbow. And wow, these Corsairs are going to kill a lot of Overlords. Now, what? He did go for early lair, but there is no Spire to be found. He did go straight for Hydralisk. Now, if you go for early lair, if you go for early Spire, then you can get some Scourges out to pick off the early Corsairs. So I feel this is kind of a misplay by Myrault for missing an opportunity here to out-tech his opponent. Like,
yeah,
you don't want to...
Maybe he was expecting the Sentinel, which is, you know, one of those units that a lot of players love to use because it's new and it does a lot of awesome damage. He may have been misreading his opponent's intentions in that regard.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, sure, the Spire doesn't hold that well after a certain number of Corsairs are out, but still, it's just so nice to pick off those early ones with Scourges if possible. Anyhow, Myrault is going to get a lot of Overlord's kills here, and he's actually microing these Corsairs really well. These Hydras are actually so, and he's getting a Lurker then! He's going all over the place with his upgrades, I feel, and his tech patterns here.
Well, I mean, like, right now, Arthur is taking his first expansion in the back, which is really, really safe. He's getting mechanic at the rump. And I think Myrault just wants to do a bit of a contain play. Like, okay, you've done some damage to me. I want to do something back. I've got the lair already because I wanted to go for the Spire. And I've got the Hydra Den. What comes out of that? Well, I mean, Lurker Den comes out of that relatively smoothly. Does that allow me to do what I want to do? I guess his opinion is yes.
Another interesting fact here, though, is that even if Myrault gets his Lurkers out, and if he contains... Like, worst case scenario is that he contains only the natural part of Arthur, because then he actually has access to 3 bases, even in a contained situation. Even if he contains, like, from the main base ramp, he still has his natural on his back up, so it's going to be really hard. Now the Spire comes into play. Myrault is just going for every tech in the book, and I'm kind of confused on what he's actually trying to accomplish here.
Yeah, I'm hoping we're going to see very, very soon, but it does look a little bit disjointed right now. Where he's just getting the things because, you know, he's like, okay, well, I kind of want these, but I also want these, and I also want these. And maybe I don't have the basis for it, but man, I'm going to do it anyways.
Here comes a lot of Lurkers, though. That means there's nothing going to protect him from these Corsairs. Luckily for his opponent, though, he's not going for Dark Templars, because he's been killing so many Overlords now that Dark Templars, I think, could actually work fairly well and control the map really well. But and also these Lurkers would be very hard to move out versus Dark Templars. Is he just going to defend with his Lurkers? He is.
Looks like he's just going to take a third base and chill.
Now
he's also getting Scourge up.
Wow, that's a lot of Scourge. If they can actually connect. And Scourge don't overkill as hard as it did in Brood War.
So it makes him a little bit more potent against this particular type of style. Arthur sees the Spire, knows that this is the moment he's treading on on soft soil. We got the Scourge in pursuit of the Corsairs.
They have the exact same speed, I think. Yes, 4 and 4. So as long as they don't turn. One thing you can do is you can send in a sacrificial Corsair and try and soak up as much as possible with one of them.
Oh yeah, nice little bit of maneuver there, but unfortunately Myrault gets the better end of that trade. So nice splitting up by Scourges. He's really trying to herd these Corsairs. Oh, gets another one. And now the Lurkers come up to the ramp. The cannon is there, though, so that's not gonna go.
Loses the last one. Yeah, you go to the cannon, you think you're safe. We actually have to fly around the cannon until all the Scourges are dead. So that was very unfortunate for Arthur, losing all of them Corsairs there. And somehow Myrault's really weird tech build composition is working out for him. He's actually equal in workers pretty much. He's only slightly less behind in army, but he is Zerg, and Zerg usually has less supply in their army anyway.
Yep.
And he has another base going for him, and he's gonna, you know, deny the third base from Arthur for a long time, and his own natural isn't really like a full base. He's not gonna get that much from it. And Myrault is taking a 4th.
It looks a little bit like the second game between Myrault and Franskar, but on a very different map, obviously.
Yeah. Also, one thing to note here is that God's Garden on Brood War didn't have these 4th bases that you see, like the one that Myrault is taking right now. And I kind of like these bases because they're connected to the high ground, so that means that controlling this high ground early game is going to deny your natural, and then controlling it late game is going to deny your 4th bases. So it kind of serves a purpose. The high ground serves a purpose for a longer time of the game, which I think is kind of cool.
It is. I like it. It's like, you know, it's that principle you want to apply to your build, where whenever you place something down, you would like to extend its use beyond what you immediately get from it.
Yes.
But then apply it to map making.
So we have a lot of High Templars from Arthur. He's gonna just check, you know, how many Lurkers and where are they? Because yeah, he doesn't need an observer to see where the Lurkers are, but he needs enough energy. Oh, and he's gonna slightly move those Lurkers away. So.
Oh, very good. Some nice positioning there by Myrault. Really being very conscious of everything that Arthur can do to try and break this.
Myrault is just impressing me more and more as a player. Like, I haven't seen that much of his play, and he hasn't played Starbow that much, but whenever he plays, like, he's this completely unknown guy. Like, Slayer's Arthur is fairly known, but Myrault, if you ask anyone, have you heard of Myrault before, no one's going to be like, what? Who's that guy? But he's playing really well.
He is, he is. He's playing very, very well. Very, very thoughtful, I think.
Yeah. And he has an incredible ability to multitask. His APM is very high. His creep spread, though, isn't like... Oh, actually, has very few queens. He has only one queen on all of his bases. He's going for the macro hatches instead. And here comes a drop. There's going to be a High Templar in this drop. And some Zealots.
We've got an Observer at the front as well. Arthur is looking to set up to break this. Of course, Myrault does have the Overlord and the Skirt there to be able to take this out soon. But the drop's going down. High Templar, has he done anything?
I don't think he had enough energy or something. Actually, he was choosing not to storm there. He was going to storm in the main. So there we go. He has the energy. He actually has energy for another one.
+1 Zealot's doing a really good job of taking out a lot of these workers. And while Myrault is really trying to hold on to this contain, Arthur has done a lot of damage here back home.
He has. Oh, now, wow, look at the army of Arthur. That macro is insane. Now he's going to try and swoop in there and... No, he's not going to try and do anything. He's just going to lose all his workers. That is unfortunate.
Yeah, Arthur breaks it very, very comfortably. Attention focused elsewhere. That is the exact moment that you want to push out. And Myrault is still having some trouble with his natural. But other than that, he looks pretty solid. The army's going to move across the map, but there's still plenty of lurkers remaining. And Arthur is actually getting a lot of damage done, and he's not responding quickly enough.
Yeah, this is actually... Myrault has a decent position here. He's not going to have enough lurkers to deal with his army, but he's going to whittle it down. So when it reaches the main base, he might have enough to deal with it with his reinforcements. And a lot of Zerglings incoming. This is going to be a good unit because the Zealots have been damaged and died to the lurkers. So Hydroling right now is going to be a really good composition to go for. He just needs to be so careful with these storms. There's a couple of storms left on these High Templars. Actually, quite a lot of them.
Oh, a little bit of a miss micro by Myrault. Microing out and back into the storm, killing all of the Hydralisks. And all of a sudden, our Zerg player just doesn't really have that much. A lot of Zerglings coming out, they might actually do some nice work, but he's sort of trickling them in, and that's really hurting him a lot.
Yeah, and it's really hard because most of his production is in this third base, and this is where Arthur is on top. And there's still a Zealot in his natural dealing damage. Okay, it's actually moving into the main, but this Zealot is actually still alive with 8 kills.
There's no workers in that third anymore.
Oh, wow. 32 workers killed from Arthur, and this is actually gonna, this is gonna snowball out of control from the Altair. I don't think he's gonna be able to come back from this.
Yeah, it looked really good, but unfortunately, Arthur had his army together, and Myrault scrambled to do so. This natural base, from the moment of the drop until now, completely useless. GG, and Arthur takes game number 1.
Wow.